Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fred Speaks. I pray this podcast finds you in the best of health and spirits. Tonight, I wanted to talk about something that is very familiar to most of us, and it's about change. So I wanted to talk about change is good. And I know there are, people that would listen to this and they're probably thinking, I'm pretty comfortable with the way my life is. I like my job. I love my family, and whatever they have going on in their life, they're pretty content with. And there's nothing wrong with being content. But what I wanted to focus on, though, is change. That change is necessary for growth. And there are so many times that we, reject change. And basically what we're rejecting is the opportunity to grow. And, whether it's a new job or, you're in a bad relationship and it's time to move on, but you just keep holding on because you've just gotten so complacent there and, basically said this is just the way life is going to be. And so in so many aspects of our lives, that's the way we are, or that's the way that we get is that we become complacent, that we don't feel there's a need for change. But I just wanted to encourage everyone that change is good. Change is necessary if you want to grow, if you want to reach your full potential, then you need to have change. And change is something that should be occurring, on a regular basis, and I'm not talking about just, unnecessary change, but what I'm saying is change that is a continuation or helps you to continue to grow, to be the person that you need to be. And if there's something that can enhance you, then why would you be against it? Why would you be resisting and fighting it? And I think that the reason we as human beings don't want change is because we don't know what the result is going to be. If we knew what the outcome was going to be, we may be more open to it. But that's what makes change so good, is that it puts you in a situation where you get out of your comfort zone. What you feel is like, oh, I know this. I'm very familiar with this, but if I try something different, I'm not going to know what that's going to be about. I'm not going to know what's going to happen if I open myself up to this change. But change is good for everybody. It's not just something that's for specific people, but everyone needs change. And the subject change is good, and change is something that you may feel that it's not necessary, but it is a way that lets you know that you're moving. You're moving. Just think about water. If it didn't move, if it didn't, and it was just stagnant, it would become, to the point where it was not good, because it wasn't able to move and purify itself in that process. And that's what we need, is that continuous change that continues to make us better. That as we change, we become better. We become better friends, a better friend, a better husband, a better wife, a better son or daughter. As we change, if we remain the same and we're still, doing the same things that we did years ago, and we haven't changed, then we haven't grown. We haven't grown any. We're still in the same place. Our bodies may have gotten bigger or whatever, but our mindset hasn't changed. We're still thinking the same way. But in order to grow, we got to stop thinking as a child and start to think more as an adult, and to be a better human being. And in order to do that, we have to change. And with change, and I think this is the part that really scares us, is it's almost like having a security blanket. And it's time to let that security blanket go. But we're like so afraid that we're not going to be able to make it without it. And some of us are sitting in jobs where we know we're past due. We're overdue. We need to move on to something else, but we are so comfortable there, and we, to ourselves, we say, this is what I know. I know this like the back of my hand. I can go into work and I can get my job done. But what about being challenged? What about room for improvement, advancement? What about those things? And if you just stay where you're at, then you won't be able to reach those things. So then I must change. I must be open to change if I want to get to things better. And that's why change is good, because change leads to something better, and sometimes when you make a change or something changes in your life, at the moment when it happens, you're looking at it like, how is this good? But out of that, something good can come out, something positive. When you first look at it, it's kind of like, well, dog, why did this have to happen in my life? But then later on, you look back at it and you're like, wow, okay. I was totally against that, but look at what came out of that. And I was thinking about, I was on a job for 5 years and I knew that job so much to the point where not necessarily the task that I had to do on the job, but I knew the premises. I knew everything about the building. I was very comfortable with it. And then when an opportunity presented itself, it was kind of like, oh, no, I don't want to let go what I have. And I struggled with that. I thought long and hard, and I'm like, man, I just don't know. And it was time for a change, but I wasn't totally willing to let go of what I had. But once I took that step and said, you know what, I'm gonna give it a chance. And once I did that, the doors opened. There was so many opportunities for advancement, to grow, to learn more, meet new people. There was so much that came out of that, but I first had to be open and willing to change, to take that step. And so if there's anybody out there that's listening to this podcast that is struggling, no matter what it is in your life, that you're struggling, but within yourself that you need a change, then you ought to be open. Of course, we should pray and seek God for his guidance, in our decision making. But we shouldn't be fearful of change. We shouldn't be fearful of it or just nervous and, I don't know what's going to happen if I do this. But, just like you're thinking the worst, think about it on the positive side of what can happen if you do take the chance. If you do take the chance. And I think that's where we as human beings, we get stuck at, is we're always focused on, it's not going to work out. Why did this happen? My life is ruined because this happened. But sometimes because it's time to move, then, things have to happen because you won't do it on your own. So something has to happen to propel you, to move you forward, to where you need to be. And sometimes it may be losing a job, and you're like, man, I really like that job. But it took losing it so that it opened up room for something different, something better. And sometimes we can say in regards to a job, we can say, we have all these different ideas and different things going on in our minds about what we would like to do if we weren't working a full-time job and we had the time, different things that we would like to do. But we never do it. And so sometimes losing that job is that thing that's like, you know what? It's time now to do what I've been wanting to do, or to at least push you in that direction that you can start working on making that happen. But without the change, you would never even get there. You would still be stuck back in the same thing. And so change is good. And it's something that is necessary if you want to grow. You want to be exposed to other opportunities, to improve yourself. Then you're going to have to move from the place where you're at. You're going to have to be open for new opportunities. And so then change is necessary to grow. You can say that you want to be the CEO of a company, but if you still have the mentality of the mailroom clerk, and you're not going to get there. Even if you are the mailroom clerk and you desire to be the CEO or to be in a role of leadership, then you might be still in the mailroom in the role of a mailroom clerk, but you're dressing according to what you want. You're starting to position yourself in a way that's my goal. I know where I'm at right now, but that's the goal that I'm going after. And you find yourself being in the realm of change, being ready and prepared for change to come. And so I just wanted to talk to anyone that is listening in that is struggling with the idea of change, that, you just want things to stay the same. But I just want to tell you, if that's the mindset that you have, you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow. You'll increase in age and everything, but you'll still have that same mentality. And if you don't grow, then you're going to be left behind, and that's kind of what happens, in different generations, new technology and different things like that. And you have a group of people that refuse to even be open to learn the new technology. And then when they get a text message from their grandkids or from someone, they have no idea how to deal with the text message. They don't even know how to check it. They hear a noise, they hear something that's happened, but they don't even know how to check it. And they don't want to learn. Even when the grandkids is like, let me show you. They don't want to learn that because they're stuck in a place where they don't want to change. But if you can open up the change, not only is it beneficial to you, but it would be beneficial to others because you're becoming a better person. You're improving on who you are. You've opened yourself up for growth. So I just wanted to share that. I was thinking about that tonight, and I really wanted to do this podcast to kind of talk about this, because I've been in that same place where just being comfortable, especially with a job, I felt like I needed to be loyal, that not only myself, but I need to consider others and everything in my decision. And so I would just be stuck on a job for years and years and years and years, and get to a place where you're not growing. There's no room for advancement. you get to a place in the company, and it's kind of like, okay, either you go this path or you need to leave the company in order to grow. But I had to learn that if I wanted to grow, sometimes it may mean that I got to leave the company where I'm at, that I may achieve the growth that I desire. So I'm not saying jump on everything that comes along, but when there's something, a change that is necessary, or a change that that would be beneficial for you. Yes, there's some nervousness and stuff like that about it when it comes to change, because you don't know if you make the decision what the outcome is going to be. But that's the beauty of it. Is life. That's basically the way life is. When we wake up in the morning, we don't know what the next day is going to bring, but we're hopeful that we'll wake up in a reasonable portion of health and strength, that we'll be able to see our loved ones, and be able to go on our jobs, see our friends, relatives, or whatever. We're hopeful for that. And so when we open ourselves up for change, we're hopeful, not that it would fail and that we would fail, but that it will be a benefit to us and that we'll be able to grow. So I just want to encourage you, if you're struggling with that, that change is good. Change brings about growth. And that's what I'm asking God in my life, is to help me to grow spiritually and naturally. I want to be the best that I can be in everything that I'm involved in my life. And I pray that everyone was able to get something out of this podcast. And we want to encourage you to join us for another episode of Fred Speaks. And with that, we want to say good night. Bye.